All right, welcoming Mr. Rob Thompson to the Kim Show podcast. How you doing, Rob?
I am enjoying my time right now. It's pretty nice to be here. Um, Honored to
I
be on the show. So
appreciate it.
yeah,
Appreciate it. All right, hold on, give me a second. Okay. My camera work is a little bit wacky right now, but how are you enjoying retirement, Rob?
I mean it's good as it was as good as I hoped it was going to be. To be honest with you, I was tired of the pressure of well, not even the pressure, just kind of like getting into arguments with people about you know fights and you know tired
Yeah,
of getting punched. So
I get it. I get it. The
glad,
whole the
glad
whole
to be
fight game is a
glad to
little
be
bit
retired.
stressful.
Yeah, that's it's it's nice. It's nice.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Yeah, you talked about you're talking about all the all the shit talking, all the fighting, and all the punching happening.
Mhm.
You don't miss it at all?
I I knew I was gonna miss, making the walk, going down and actually fighting him. I'm gonna miss that for sure. But I mean, I think the way I retired, very like, I have to be appreciative of how I went out. I didn't go out of my back. So
Yeah, well, you definitely did leave on top. The middleweight title is still vacant. And as you know, we
hmm
have two top contenders fighting for that belt that you left behind. Frederick Whitaker, I believe, and Arlen Vera. You got any comments about
yeah,
that
man,
fight?
that guy, Roderick, man, he can hit for sure. But I've sparred Arlen a few times in
Mm.
the past. He was part of a couple of fight camps that I had. I mean, if Arlen fights his fight, I think he's got a good chance. But Redrick's just so dominant when he gets in there, man. It's a toss up for me, but I think I'm probably siding with Redrick.
Frederick. Okay, so you got Frederick
Yeah.
by what? Decision? How do you think the fight's gonna go down?
If he
What's your
if he wins,
prediction?
it'll be by in a 5 round fight. If he wins, he'll finish him. I think he'll finish him for sure. In like third or fourth round.
Oh, okay, sweet. That's all right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
despite me being the middleweight as well, I don't know much about Redrick Whitaker nor Arlen Vera besides Arlen's fight against um Ron Johnson, I believe. Um, yeah, they both look like some great
Mhm.
strikers. Both seem pretty well rounded everywhere. So I think it's gonna be an exciting fight.
Redrick was for sure. He was for sure my toughest fight, for sure.
Toughest fight.
And for sure. I like even in like sparring, he was probably the toughest dude I fought for
Um,
sure.
okay,
You know,
interesting.
and Deuce was good. Deuce was good, and he is good, but he couldn't hurt me like Redrick. You know, he couldn't really do anything to me like Redrick did.
All right. Well, speaking of Deuce Wade, I'm sure you've seen, if you watched the show, that he was on the show, like a few days ago. Do you recall? Well,
Um, I no, I don't think I got around to watching that. What happened?
some pretty big claims he made about you. Claimed that you were on Elixir.
Uh, that's funny, but I mean, he's always been that way. I think he's probably just trolling. But if he's
It's
not, then
alright.
probably just pure jealousy.
You're jealous. Yeah, he made some pretty bold claims. It was pretty shocking to hear. He was talking about how you made a body transformation, something about your skin was blue, and then you went on the dark elixir. Now you got
hmm
abs and whatnot, and you got the whole works. You look like a real fighter. Um, he was talking about that a
I'm
little bit and kind of
afraid.
shocked.
I'm afraid that if I like expose what really went down, then I'll be Well, I'm retired now, so I don't care. Let me tell you what really went down. So
All right.
the blue thing, first of all, this is stupid, but I was actually born with a skin condition, and I was blue,
Mm-hmm.
and I made fun of as a kid, and I was blue until I think I turned 34,
All right.
34, 35 when I got prescribed to a medicine that I take that limits the blue of my skin color. So
Okay.
you know
So
that's
basically
why
getting the
I have a
melanin
normal
back in.
appearance.
Right.
If I don't take it, then I'll be blue. Is basically what I'm saying.
That's quite interesting. Never heard of that condition before. I'm glad you explained yourself. Yeah, Deuce Wade. Just accusations about Dark Elixir that he made about you. But now recently, I've been getting information about him using the
Have you?
Dark Elixir. Just a little bit suspicious.
That's interesting. That's interesting because back back in the day, back in like I think September, October of 2022 was when FFC started to grow in numbers and you know started to become a little bit more like big.
Hmm.
So the biggest event in FFC history was me versus Deuce Wade at FFC 8. It
Right.
was technically it was a trilogy fight, but the first two fights I was still blue. Fun fact, I was still blue. I hadn't been prescribed yet, and so I didn't really like when I went out there. I was uncomfortable. I was afraid. I was just a
Mm.
little blue boy. But
Okay.
yeah,
Wow.
neither of us were very good. I will say that neither of us were very good at fighting for the first two fights. But so the third fight comes around, right?
Mhm.
And I'm starting to hit my stride. I think I'd won 3 fights in a row at that point. I think 4 fights, maybe 3 or 4 fights. And Deuce was, he was chilling. He had, the self-crowned champion of the FFC, and he had beaten Luigi. And yeah, Luigi, which is certainly a quality win. But that's besides the point.
Mm.
To the point, during the build-up of that fight, a Frupsada official spoke up about Deuce, and he exposed how he had shown clear symptoms of PED abuse and dark elixir abuse.
Oh, you list
You know
those
what?
symptoms?
Yes. You know what happened to that? Oh wait, no. The symptoms of like what he had.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he had bumps on his stomach.
Hmm.
Second, he had hair loss, extreme hair loss.
Okay.
And third, he had a strange weight gain, as well, a height gain. So yeah, he was taking EPO, man, and he was taking dark elixir. He was taking a lot of stuff, clearly. And so that Frupsada official that spoke out, he was never heard from again.
Oh,
Something happened to him.
oh,
They got
you're
him.
serious.
I'm
Okay.
serious. I'm so serious.
Actually, you know what? Um, you're the second person to tell me this because anonymous source told me that a similar story about Upside
Mm-hmm.
official listing Deuce Wade and investing afterwards. So it's interesting that you're telling me this
Yep.
now because it seems as if this
So,
is almost true.
well, take it as you will, but I'm not. There's still more to the story. So
Tell me
after this
more.
came out,
Yeah.
he started to attack one of my good friends, Avery Starr.
I've heard.
Recently, yeah. So at that point, recently, a friend of his, King Vamp, got shot where he got shot and had to go to the hospital, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I didn't really know what was going on there, but they blamed it on her, basically. You know,
Okay.
to like, I guess to distract the media from the Juice Wade situation.
Juice
So they
Wade, did you
blamed
say?
Juice Wade. Yeah, have you never heard of Juice Wade?
No, I've never heard anyone call him
That's
Juice
that's the most
Wade.
that's the most that's the most legendary nickname in the FFC ever. Juice Wade, the
Wow, I guess I'm
CEO of
under a rock.
BBO.
You still believe
Yep.
he's clean now, or you think he's still in the dark elixir to this day?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Okay, go ahead. Continue.
So they started to attack my training partner, my good friend Avery, and with false accusations. Um, and then he started to direct them at me because of my skin condition. He said he's taken, dark elixir, like unnatural stuff, or whatever he said. I didn't really listen to him, but
Mm-hmm.
he started to direct them at me,
Okay.
and so that's when I realized, I I was in over my head, trying to go toe to toe with a guy who owns the media at the time, owns the company completely at the time.
Right.
So he could really have ruined my reputation if he wanted to. So, and he tried to, but what ended up happening was FFC 8 came around and he was not clean and fought him, and I knocked him out in the third round. I mean, and on the judging for that fight, one of his
Mm-hmm.
best friends, who also owned the league, um,
Can I get a name?
had it like no, had it like
Ah.
1-1.
Uh-huh.
I think he had it 1-1 or like 2-1 for Deuce. And if you watch that fight, Stun Gun, if you watch that fight, you, yeah, it was stupid. It was stupid to have Deuce. Deuce didn't win a single round, and they were all very, very dominant rounds for me. And then I got the knockout. So,
Hmm. So do you think that like the FFC is rigging these fights over Deuce Wade?
no, not anymore.
Not anymore.
I don't think they ever were. I don't think they ever were. But
Okay.
what I think is that um, they let him get away with a lot of PED abuse, let him get away with a lot of, you know, Bush League stuff that he did back in the day. And, you know, he was a naughty boy,
Naughty boy.
and he lied. And he's still lying to this day is why I'm like disappointed, because I think he's clean now. I've sparred with him recently. I was part of his training camp. He's part of my training camp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so I think he's clean now, and I don't think that there's any like rigging going on anymore. But I just had to let you know what happened for real. That's why he still lies about it, because he got embarrassed, he got exposed and embarrassed, and he's still in denial about it. I mean, I figured that he would have maybe have matured by now and just we could be cool, but that's not what he wants. He wants to get back at me for embarrassing him on the biggest stage.
Hmm. Damn, but that's interesting. There's been talking about a four, and I see it.
Hello, I think your mic cut out.
Oh, what? Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
My Wi-Fi's bad.
Hold on, let me see. Did it really cut out? Hello, 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 hello. Wait, what the? I'm still picking it. Hello? Oh, Rob, Rob Thompson. Can you hear me, Rob Thompson? It appears that Rob Thompson is having some issues within his uh
Yo,
mouth. What's up, Rob? Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I don't know what that was about. Mine was still working on my part. But yeah,
Took my AirPods out.
let's talk about the fact that people still egg on the idea between Rob Thompson plus Deuce Wade 4. It's occasionally posted around in the media here and there, and even Deuce Wade
Um,
himself tries to push the fight, try to get you out of retirement. Does that fight interest you at all? Like, do you think you make the final walk in the octagon against Deuce Wade for the final time as like a legacy fight? Would you, or does that not even interest you anymore?
to me, man, that's a joke to me. That's a joke.
Joke.
That's not real. If it is real, then it's just stupid because we have done everything we needed to do. And I'm sorry, my did you hear that?
No, I didn't hear what was it?
Okay, good. Never mind. I think that the only reason that we would do a fourth fight is if he was just jealous, still to this day, and wanted to get that win back. But even if that was the case, then I do not want to fight him again. I don't want to fight anyone again. So
Shoot.
I'm done.
Okay. Not even me. You wouldn't want to come fight me.
You wouldn't want me to come fight you.
No, of course I'm joking, Rob Thompson. Of course, um, I do. However, I think I've reached out to you before, and I haven't gotten answered for it. But I did offer a sparring session. Test myself against the former champ. But since I'm right here in front of you, maybe one day, you take me up my offer and
we can
possibly
get at it. We can get at it after this.
we can do after this. After this, we can do a little
Let's
sparring.
let's
But
do it then.
you know, uh, just for a little fun, because as you know, I'm fighting Ron Johnson at FFC
hmm
12. I'm not
I
sure
heard
if I'm
about
gonna
that.
be on the main card. I might be. I've heard that I might be like a featured preliminary, which
Oh yeah, you will be, right? I'm
on
sure
the
you
main
will be.
card or
You're
the feature.
you're one of the main. You're like one of the biggest guys in the like hype train.
See, that's what I was
Apparently, like
thinking.
that's what I've heard.
I've heard that I believe I'm
If they
a
put
pretty
you on a
big hype train.
prelim, that's stupid. If you're on a prelim, that's stupid. You should absolutely be on the main card.
I think it'd
And
be
Ron
slightly to see it.
Johnson's
Ron
a big
Johnson
draw
too.
as well. You know,
hmm I think it's a big fight in general. It could
it
be
is a
it
big
almost
fight.
could be a main fight and like of a fight night. Obviously, FFC 12
Yeah.
is a pretty stacked card, so I'm happy to be a part of it.
hmm
I'm currently working with my team or with a few people to like have a great entrance and you know and
Right.
just show out and have fun. Put a spectacular fight against Ron Johnson. He's a great fighter. I'm excited. He's in Thailand right now. I'm not sure if you saw that. He's in Thailand training.
Ooh,
Um, but
that's intense.
yeah, it's pretty intense. I think Thailand is probably the fight capital of the world, and he's
Yeah.
there training in the wild while I'm here. And I'm sure you saw the footage of me and
Talking
Teddy
to
Rao.
talking to some old guy about old fights.
Yeah, but
If
I'm
it were
gonna.
me doing the booking, man, if it were me booking it, you would be the third fight on that card. You would be the third fight, like
Alright,
third to main event.
there's the main event. I appreciate that. I appreciate
The
you think that.
yeah, for sure. The Coco main.
Coco main, yeah. I think that's a fitting spot. I think it's almost. I feel like it's almost guaranteed action between me and Ron Johnson. I think I have one of the best striking in the game in the league. And I know Ron Johnson's striking is just as spectacular, if not flashy. Like if not flashier than mine, definitely more
Right.
flashier than mine. But he's a great fighter. I'm looking forward to it. I'm training hard when I'm not in here cooking up media news. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this is my return to. This is my first time like going public since I retired, and I was never really a public guy in the FFC, especially after like what went down, what I just told you about the
Right.
whole Juice Wade situation. I was not public at all in the FFC,
Right.
So, you know, I just saw like, I've been seeing what you've been doing, and I saw that you've had a really cool podcast. So I want to get on that for
A lot of
sure.
people a lot of people seem to enjoy what I do and what I make. I honestly, okay, this might sound somewhat like egotistical, or maybe I'm like tooting my own horn here, but like, have you noticed the wave of media ever since I started,
Hmm.
posting a lot more consistent daily basis videos and news? Like, I feel like my wave, people are jumping onto it, and that's completely fine. But some people would like to discredit some of my news a little bit, but I don't know. I think we're doing a good job. A lot of people want to come on the show. You being one of them. I think next show, I'm hoping I can get either maybe Tyler Francis, Murder, um, someone along those lines. Maybe even Stinky Sock. I think I want Stinky Sock, the new up and coming star Stinky Sock. I want him to come on here.
That
Um,
guy's a weirdo.
he's my favorite heavyweight at the moment, to be honest with you. If
Uh,
if you watch the podcast with me and Deuce Wade, at the end we briefly talk about Stinky Sock's no contact knee KO on Rizgar, and it was some pretty spectacular stuff. But
I saw that. I actually saw that, and he's silly, man.
silly guy.
He's silly. He's silly. There's no
Yeah.
other way of putting it. Like he's just a. I mean, big draw. I'm sure.
Now he is. I feel
Yeah.
because like it's I find it so fascinating that he's built his entire fighting style based around that flying knee of his, and it's just every fight he's gonna go out there and just perform it. And like, what can you do about it? You can block it, but like he's just gonna throw
Yeah.
it up. Like it's something
I've always
crazy.
struggled against guys like that who just hammer down on the, you know, crazy moves.
Hmm.
And it's hard. Well, I mean, if you want to trade with those guys, the best thing you can do is just sit back and wait. But like, if you want to trade, you're gonna get caught, and that's dangerous, man.
It's
You're gonna
very
get caught with
dangerous.
one of those big roundhouses flying knees, and you're gonna be in trouble. So
Um, I recently sparred with Chris Maverick, and he was working in the sparring training facility. He was working on hitting Rolling Thunders. Um, the thing was, the Rolling Thunder, it's really hit or miss, and if you miss, then you're most likely
you're in
gonna have a
trouble.
hard time. Yeah, you're in trouble. And I think when you gas out in front of a guy like me, I feel like that's where I have you like basically have you beat already. I think
Right.
Jeremias and Shasta did the same thing where they both gassed out in front of me, and I took them out of there. You saw how my fights went. It was pretty close at the first rounds because I slipped. Didn't get knocked down. I slipped every single time. But um, that's all
The
right.
classic,
Whatever.
the classic Deuce Wade excuse.
Yeah. Well, Deuce Wade we talked about it too. Deuce Wade said that he slipped because there's some water and everything. I say I wouldn't go. I wouldn't like exaggerate it
Got
that
knocked the fuck
far.
out.
I'd say that when you get punched just right, like you stumble and you get a little shocked, right? And perhaps I
I
fall
mean,
down.
it wasn't even
Perhaps.
that, dude. For me and him, it wasn't even that. His only loss, it wasn't even like a good spot. I mean, I was just over and over, just punishing him
Yeah.
the entire fight.
Shoot.
And there's no footage of that fight, and
Oh,
that's interesting.
oh yeah, I heard that it was deleted from the anonymous news
Was it?
source. That it was
Was it really?
deleted and that the media covered it up and just acting like that fight never happened.
Eh,
Um, uh,
man.
I don't want to say any names. I'm not really allowed to. My sources,
Yeah.
they tell me to keep themselves anonymous. But
So you have some good sources. You have some good.
yeah,
You're balling, man. You're out here.
people want their news to be on the Kim show. I get private messages every here and there saying, Kim, put me on your show. I got something to tell you about. Like check out this news. Have you heard about this? All this and like
Right.
I of course I post what I think is newsworthy. Sometimes it's blatant like nonsense. Made up stuff such as some other news sources like Row Podcast, or whatever it was. What is it called?
Row
This
podcast.
it's called
Rogus.
not Row Goose. No, Row Goose is a fine podcast. I have no issues with Row Goose.
Ooh. I
I
always wanted
have
to go on Rogus. I always wanted to go on Rogus. He reminds me a lot of myself.
yeah
I'm a big
yeah.
fan of geese, and he is a literal goose. So
He's he's great. He's great. But I was talking about Raw MMA Hour. Raw MMA Hour. Terrible news source, I'd say.
oh
I think
wow.
I think a few days ago, and they posted. I'm not sure if you saw, but my OnlyFans pictures, and try to claim
What?
that I sent them to him.
What?
What? Oh, what? Oh, my Only Bros
What are we
pictures.
talking?
Oh, you didn't
Only
know?
bros?
I'm an Only
No.
Bro star.
I mean, good for you, but they posted
It
that?
the FFC doesn't pay me enough sometimes, but um
Yeah.
yeah
I
the
know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about, dude.
they don't pay enough,
I
so I had to
retired.
make that I had to make I had to make the Only Bros. So yeah, he um of course Mr. Black Pierre from Raw MMA Hour, he's actually my number
Oh
one
my
donation.
god.
He donos me every single day, and he took one of my photos,
No.
screenshotted it, and then posted it on his MMA's news source talking about I sent it to him.
No.
It was some weird stuff, but now he's recently have deleted it because he know it was untrue. I was gonna have a court case about it, but since he deleted
Oh.
it, I'll let it slide, but it is what it
Wow,
is.
that's so disappointing. He was my student.
Really, he was, huh? That's interesting.
Yeah, I can tell you about that. I
Yeah,
can
tell
tell
me
you about
about
that.
that.
So it was during the build up to FFC8, me and Deuce, and I wanted to have a team that kind of like I had some backup, against basically the entire league that was against me at the time. And
hmm
I see this guy on, right? And I spar with him, and hold on one second.
Hold on. I'm getting recent news that Shasta the Green Bull is having a face reveal on the FFC's Discord server.
Okay.
Do
Where
you
were we? We're about murder.
Wait, yeah, we're on murder, but him and the build up to the fights and him being your student. But do you see Shasta on the Discord server? Apparently, he has his face cam on right now. I'm a little interested to see that a little bit. Shasta Braid, she's
I don't think I know who that is. Oh my god, there's a lot of people in the freaking
yeah.
thing. But let's
Yeah, we're in a podcast right
we can-
now.
yeah. So murder, Blocks Pereira, otherwise known as Connor
Mhm.
McBlocks, otherwise known as Islam Blakachev, otherwise known as Bloksat Shemaev, otherwise known as Kevin Bloxland.
Mm.
I'm sure there's like 3 other ones in there, but murder. He was in the gym, and I joined. It was late at night, and I just had this idea. My nickname was the American Gangster at the time, inspired by Mr. Chael Sonnen.
Right.
So I was the American Gangster, and I wanted to make a gym. I wanted to make the AGG,
Right.
American Gangster Gym. And so he was there, and we started talking. We started talking about like UFC. We started talking, he told me he was new to the game, and we fought. Started sparring, friended him, and he became my student. I started to teach him. I started to guide him, and I helped him become better at the game. We sparred so many times, dude.
Mhm.
So many times. He would always come back. I beat him every time. I knocked him out millions of times, but he came back every single time, and I never quit on him. I always, actually, no, that's a lie. I did quit on him, but that's later. He always come back, and that's what I liked about him. He was tough, and he was humble, but something changed in him. Something clicked in him where he became a loose cannon. He started to say like controversial stuff to people. He started to like start beef for no reason. And I didn't want that to represent me. I didn't want that to represent my gym, what I had at the time.
Right.
So after the fight with Deuce, I announced that he was cut from AGG.
Murder was cut from AGG.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And he did not like that. He did not like that at all. So me and him fell out. We fell out pretty hard.
Well,
Of course, he still respected me, but we lost a lot of respect for each other, and we lost a lot of love for each other. And so we kind of stopped being like cool, and he started to just nag me about everything, like he still does to this day. You know, he always talks down on my legacy, talks down on who I am, but he can never get away from the fact that he was my student until I didn't let him be my student anymore.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you did that, though. I mean, you know, standing up for what your team represents and everything.
Yeah, but he, I think it was good for him as well, though, because he kind of became who he is. That formed his identity. He wasn't just my sidekick anymore. You know, he became a very iconic person in the FFC, and everyone knows his name, and he's a huge draw, and he's got all this going for him. But I think he's got to get back to like his hunger. You know, he's got to get back to his ambition to be good, and it doesn't seem like he's had that recently, because whenever he loses, he just retires, and fakes retirement.
Fakes retirement.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you've seen, but yeah, issues with murder arise every day, and you know, you gotta respect a guy like that, because you know he's willing to make himself hated, you know, to become a draw. You know, that's kind of impressive in a way. Then again, he just becomes very unlikable to a lot of people nowadays. But some of the things he says to this day is just outlandish. Even what he said towards me, he came at me when I first joined the FFC and started winning. He hit me with some pretty controversial remarks, and I've only seen him get worse over time. Kind of sucks.
Just who he is, I guess. I mean, that's what he likes to do.
Sell your soul to become a draw, man. But I mean, yeah, he currently, I think earlier today, he was arguing with like 3 different people at the same time. He never wins his arguments. That's the thing I noticed. Like he would go back and forth, and
that's true.
He has the most worst and weirdest takes, and if you start winning an argument, he just goes, "You're trash." I think today's argument he made something along the lines that, "Oh, Yubin Kim hasn't fought any talents, or neither has anyone in the middleweight division, besides apart from I think he respects Arlen. No, he doesn't respect anyone in the middleweight, honestly. I think he only respected you, which it makes sense now because you explained to me that he was your student at one point. But yeah, he just telling everyone that you know he fought super champion contenders or championship level fighters, and that we haven't, and that makes him better than us. And, you know, it's a little weird, but his only wins are against.
He hasn't really fought anyone that good. Like, he fought Johnny Bate, which he's not that good. Like, and lost to him twice in a row, which is bizarre to me. But he actually thought he won the second fight, but that's besides the point.
You thought he didn't win the second fight?
I did. I thought he won the second fight. I thought it was close, but I thought he won. But
that's what out bias. But
yeah, well,
it's a close fight. Whatever.
Yeah. He also lost to Deuce Wade, and he got submitted, tapped out, and it's just, man, I don't know, like, how you can talk so much and then he's on like a 3-fight losing streak or whatever. I don't know. He's definitely on a 2-fight losing streak. He really has to win FFC 12.
Francis. And it's a pretty good fight, I think, right? Isn't that a good fight? I think it might be close. I mean, they both seem pretty confident going into this fight. I just don't know. I don't know. To be honest, I think the narrative is that where wins fights Deuce Wade. Yeah, I'm not even sure if that really makes too much sense. I mean, maybe for
Mhm.
Tyler, he'll be in a 3-fight winning streak, but for 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 murder, uh, even him even him, if he wins that fight, I heard that he gets like a ranking in the middleweight division. I don't even think he deserves that one, to be honest. He has to fight anyone in the
Uh,
middleweight division. I don't know. But yeah, see what they'll do. Regardless if I agree with it or
he
not, it's fine.
Yeah, he's going to be in big trouble if he does not win on FFC 12. He's going to be in a terrible position. He's going to be 2-4, losses to his biggest rivals. Hasn't won in a couple months, and just a boatload of shit talk to be to be laughed at, and like he's going to become a laughing stock if he loses to Tyler.
Nobody's gonna really take him seriously after that one. That's the
Yeah,
big risk he takes when
but
he talks all that shit.
if he wins though, then he'll be. I think that'll set him on a right track because when he's confident, he's so much better. To me,
Well, we'll see what happens with this guy. I know, only you can only do so much. But right now he's kind of in that Darren Till path where he seemed like he had that potential, and now he's losing and talking shit and losing and whatnot. But hopefully one day, I've been thinking about doing this segment before, but like a fighter's recap, like a fighter's history recap, talk about the old fights, whatnot, and like the upbringing. And I think if I ever do one with murder, I mean, I think it'd be pretty interesting, but it'll be kind of a sad tale to be honest, more than anything. But what
yeah,
happens? See what happens with
I
him
would like to
when he fights.
see you fight Murder. I would like to see you or Ron Johnson fight Murder. I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah, I think down the line when it makes more sense, but him demanding his fight against me right away, like I'm number 4 in the middleweight division. I'm fighting Ron Johnson. He's out here in a 2-fight losing streak. I'm on a 2-fight win streak. I mean, yes, he fought Johnny Bates, which Johnny Bates is pretty good, I guess, but I think he's gonna have to fight someone beneath me first before he gets to me. I don't. If I'm being honest, like I'm down to fighting him in the future, but risk it all to risk my momentum just to get this guy, like a chance to beat me. Like I just don't see it happening, to be honest. Happening.
I think I have a weird way of like gauging how good these guys really are. Like when I fight them, they're easy. Like, and I just try to do cool shit, and I end up like not winning easily. But
Mm-hmm.
there's a few guys who are just like actually really good, and I think Redrick is one of them. And I know I'm not supposed to like Deuce, but I think Deuce is also one of them, and I think the heavyweight champion Salvador Cruz is also one of them.
I heard they're pretty good. I heard Dembe is also really good too. Dembe, that mythical
Tembe, that's
fighter.
a whole other story, dude. That's a whole other story. He's on a whole other dimension in terms
Different
of like how good
plane
he
of
is.
existence. Yeah, but
Yeah,
he's a
man.
great fighter. Very scary
I
fighter.
think the top three certainly right now for me are Redrick, Deuce, and Salvador.
Oh, for the pound for pound.
Like for me personally, Arlen might have a better resume, but I mean Redrick has only lost one time, and he fought really well, and it went to the fourth round. So
Interesting.
Arlen he beat Ron Johnson, very good win. I remember watching that fight. That was a great fight. He beats Apollo Ski, who was making his debut, and he never fought again. And then he also
Never heard of
beats.
that guy. Never heard of him.
Yeah, exactly. And then he beats someone else. I can't remember who else, but his resume, I don't think it's as good as Redrick's, right now. So, and I also don't think he's as good as Redrick, like skill wise. So,
Shit. Frederick seems very good. Hopefully one day I get the grace to octagon with him, and hopefully I take home a win. Um,
Mhm.
I think I set myself up in a pretty good spot for this middleweight, title contention. Redrick is definitely a big issue. Arlen, Ron Johnson, all of them. Right now I've been fighting people beneath me, and I think I need to fight someone ahead of me, and Ron Johnson's gonna be that. But you telling me about this
Yeah,
about Redrick, it definitely does put a little nerves in me. I'm quite the nervous fighter, to be
that's
honest. So I've talked about this on the Rogue Goose podcast, where like I do get
that's
nervous.
a good thing. That's a good thing.
Mhm.
And I know this is coming from, I'm widely regarded as the most comfortable fighter in the FFC history, like the most, I can control my nerves. But for the Redrick fight, dude, when I came out in the first and second round, I was nervous. I was very nervous, and you could tell by the way I was fighting. And for the Deuce fight, like for comparison, I was extremely confident, and I went in there knowing I was going to win, and I, knocked it out of the
Mm.
park. I think if you're not nervous, then you're not really as ready as you should be. Of course, I was
Mhm.
a little bit nervous, and it's so stupid because it's just a game. Like you're
Yeah.
not actually going in there and fighting, but it feels, especially now that there's a lot more people at the events and there's a lot more eyes on the events. It feels like a lot more pressure,
There's a
And
lot more people
if you're
recording it
going in there,
too, and like yeah.
right, if you're going in there against a guy like Redrick who can knock you out for sure, it's scary, man. You don't want to, especially if you're building a legacy, if you're building a reputation, which is what I was doing. I was building my legacy to its top, to like the tippity top. And if I got knocked out, man, I wouldn't have retired. I would still be fighting. I would still be old. You know, I would have lost a lot of confidence, and I would have lost a lot of my legacy. But I had to go in there and win. I had to defend the league. Had to defend my legacy. So that's why I won.
Yeah, I know. I understand that feeling. Well, not completely yet, because I've never had the belt. I never had to defend
You'll
it. I
you'll
never had to
get there.
challenge
You'll
it.
get there.
Um,
You'll get there.
the main event spot. Deuce Wade actually briefly talked about this in the last podcast, where he said that it's a whole different game when you're the main event, and he says like, yes, it's a game, but when you
Hmm.
when you're in there, you feel slower. Like the world moves slower. Your strikes are slower. Your
Hmm.
stamina is lower. Yeah, I think the pressure. I think it's very much like a lot of pressure, and I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I'm ready for a main event fight yet. I think I still have to
Hmm.
work for my mental. My mental is not completely there yet. Even when I went to fight against Shasta and Jarimis, like it
I can
was
help you with that. I can
the
help you with that.
mentality was crazy. But yeah,
What I
after this,
did,
we'll spar. Mm-hmm. Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, but what I did was it's really started like my supreme confidence started in the Jay Sean Santiago fight, which is not talked about a lot, but it
Mm-hmm.
was. I just went in there and I thought about the worst case scenario, and I got comfortable with the worst case scenario, and I went out there and I was comfortable. I was ready for everything, and same goes for the Deuce fight. He was so nervous, I could just tell. He
Mm-hmm.
he he put so much pressure on himself to win that fight because you know if he lost, then he would have had to eat all those words.
Mm-hmm.
God, you should have been there for how much he talked heading up to that fight. But enough about that. He, I think that taught him. I taught him a valuable lesson, and like not even like a bragging, like I'm just being honest. Like I taught him a very valuable lesson in there.
Mm-hmm.
And during the fight, or during camp for the fight with Murder, which was supposed to be FFC 9, but Murder pulled out. Deuce still fought, and
Mm.
so yeah,
Okay.
FFC 9. I was helping Deuce out a lot, and it was pretty private. We were out in the desert fighting and talking, and we were friends. We were good.
Mm-hmm.
And I taught him about being humble, and I taught him about controlling his nerves and controlling his anger, like when trash talking and like when fighting. And it really helped him, and he started to make changes to himself, and he started to win mental warfare, and he started to win. He wasn't as nervous. Didn't have as much pressure on him, and so I think that taught him a valuable lesson. Like against Murder, I mean, if he went in there like he went in there against me, he would have gotten knocked out. I feel like just like mentally, it's so stupid,
Hmm.
but it's a lot of mental like it's a lot of mentality when you go in there, and like it's just I never thought it would be like I thought it was just me, and it really isn't. It's just going in there and freaking pushing buttons
The
better than the
buttons
other guy,
fighting. Yep. Yep. But it's
pushing
in a way
pushing
it's
buttons faster than the
strategic.
other guy.
Pushing faster than the other guy, being more strategic,
Right.
doing
When
good
you build
stuff.
when you build a community and you have a bunch of people who are they want to see a knockout and they're gonna laugh at whoever gets knocked out. You know, when you have a community, no matter
Mm.
what you're doing, no matter what the competition is, that builds a lot of pressure if you're fighting, no matter who you are. And that's why we get nervous. That's why people get nervous when they're, fighting FFC. And so
Hmm. No, I
for
feel that.
you, for you, I feel like you specifically, you have an edge, like where you're a laid back guy, and like you, if I was fighting you, it would be more intimidating than fighting a guy who's just angry and a guy who's just coming to knock you out. Like you have like a mystique, like very cool, like aura, and that's very valuable to have.
Hmm. I appreciate that a
And,
lot.
right? It's very unique. Like, and not a lot of guys come out there and are just as confident as you and like are as unique as you, and so that's why I think that you can definitely win like mental games for sure against anyone.
I think when it comes to that mental game, that mental warfare, I'm sure you've seen me in the middle of like a few trash talk wars. I don't even think I trash
Hmm.
talk. I call it I'm just spitting the truth at you. Like with murder,
Right.
he'll come at you, he'll say you're ass, you're trash, blah blah. You're a terrible player. You can't play the game right. You don't have enough wins. You never fought a champion like me, etc. etc.
Right. 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 Right.
Um, the list goes on and on, but it just doesn't. Nothing that he says makes sense. But and I go out there and I tell him, I basically critique him. I basically say, you're gonna retire when you lose. You're gonna do this. You're gonna retire for the
Hmm.
90th time. You're gonna be mad. You're gonna follow me to the training facility and wait for me to lose, and then screenshot it so you can send it to everyone else. You're gonna create a false narrative, and not once has he made a valid response to anything I've said. So I don't know why I still like give him the time of day to like even like argue with him. Maybe part of me thinks it's somewhat funny, but like this, at this point I go in there nervous and I'm nervous to fight and whatnot. However, when it comes to these trash talking mental warfare, these other fighters really don't have anything against me, and that's what makes me feel a little bit more calm and collected. It's just like they don't have anything they can say that that like that they can put on me. Like I've never retired after a loss. Like I haven't lost yet, but I've never said anything like super outlandish. So I just feel like there's no dirt on me, and I think that's just a product of me being a genuine person slash fighter and news
Yeah.
host and whatnot. And I think if people were just more genuine, it'd be a lot more interesting. But then again, you still need people like Murder and Tyler to talk shit because it brings like it attracts a certain
Yeah. It
crowd.
brings eyes to
Hmm.
the fight. I was the
Yeah.
same way. I was the same way.
Hmm.
I a few times I said that I was a truth talker, not a trash talker, and
Hmm.
that's what you're describing. Like I was always telling the truth,
Right.
and I was genuine, and that's really all you need to do, man. That's how you get the edge. And
Yeah.
if you're putting on a persona like how I think a lot of guys are, like that's definitely how murder is. And murder is
Murder is definitely
always putting
portraying
on a
this.
persona.
And it's not even like a really good persona too. I'm starting to believe that he believes in
Yeah,
his persona. I'm starting to believe,
it's kind of yeah, it's kind
yeah,
of like
like at a certain
ground
point,
level kind of stuff.
at a
Yeah,
certain point, I thought it was like, oh yeah, he's being outlandish on purpose. And then at a certain point,
right.
you realize like this might just be how he is, and it's just like,
Exactly.
it's like okay, so this is kind of
But
weird
dude,
now.
you would not ever expect him to be as good as he is if like in like trash talk because he gets you angry. Like as much as he's so stupid, as much
Mm.
as he's so outlandish, it gets guys absolutely pissed off.
And
It brought Tyler to the point of, you know,
the November incident.
yeah, the incident.
Yeah.
So it brought
That-
Tyler to that
well,
point.
I mean,
It brought
Tyler's a kid. Though Tyler's young. He's a young guy. So
impressionable. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, it could never work on me. It's never worked on me, but
yeah. He
it
thinks it
could
works.
work. I mean, yeah, he thinks it does. It worked on I think it might have worked on Deuce a little bit early on, but Deuce learned how to deal with it, and
Mhm.
murder couldn't really affect him anymore. And since then, I mean, especially when you're losing, dude, especially when you're losing all your fights, like you can't be
You lose
as
your
good.
credibility.
Like,
Yeah,
right? You can't. If if you just say you're gonna win, why are we gonna believe you?
exactly.
Like why should we believe you?
The only person that if someone was to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna win, it would have to be someone like Deuce Wade or like Redrick, someone that's on a win streak and that's like on
Mm-hmm.
top. If you're an unranked, just moved division that just lost twice in a row, saying, I'm gonna knock out everyone, I'm the owner of FFC, then like
Yeah,
it's
you look
actually
silly. You look.
it's silly,
You look like you're
right?
drunk.
It's silly, but like I think a part of me thinks that he's still aware and he's purposely being arrogant to still stay relevant. And
Yeah,
like yes,
man.
it might be working for him, but
That's the wrong way to go.
yeah, but it works
It
though.
might
It
work.
works
It
for
might
him.
work against Tyler. Might
It
work
works
against
against
Tyler.
Tyler. Yeah, it works against
Yeah, we
like
saw.
competitors like that. But um, people like you and
But
me
that's
and
always been my
Deuce and
thing. That's
whatnot.
always been
Yeah,
how I won. That was always how I won mental warfare. Like none of that stuff ever got to me because I know that it's all made up. Like it's all
Mhm.
just it's all when I realize that someone is trying to get into my head, that's when I know that they cannot get into my head.
Right.
If that makes sense.
No, that makes
And
sense. I
Murray
understand what you're saying.
and Deuce Wade and kind of Redrick as well. I noticed Redrick did a few things that he was like trying to get in my head, but didn't work. No one ever got into my head, and because of that, because I knew that they were trying to. Like
Right.
when you're aware of what they're trying to do, it makes them so much less intimidating. It makes them so much less credible.
It almost
And
makes them look silly, to be honest. Like, oh, you're really trying this.
it makes them look stupid. It makes them look like
Yeah.
they're trying way too hard. And then when I just come back with like I don't care enough to
Yeah.
even try, talk trash with you, that's the most harmful response that I could have. That's how you win.
Like, I don't care,
Yeah.
and then you go out there and you knock them out in their fight, and
Exactly.
it's just like they're like, damn, I talked all that shit. I had to eat all my words up now.
I built a career off of that. You
Yeah,
know?
that's. I think that's a good path, and I think I'm definitely inspired by taking that path. However,
Yeah.
I do still believe that arrogance and like purposeful arrogance and like shit talking is somewhat needed, just a little bit, because I'm
Maybe.
I'm trying to draw attention from like the other crowds. So you might see me entertain some trash talking, some trash, just a little bit. And, you know,
But the thing is, though,
yeah.
this kind of like connects with what we've been talking about. Like,
Mhm.
if you're trying to be arrogant, if you're trying to come up with creative trash talk, you have to mean it. You know,
Yeah.
you have to say things that are true, and that's what I always did. I always exploited things that were actually true. I didn't
Mhm.
make things up like murder, like Deuce.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
know, I didn't
Yeah,
make little stupid shit up.
especially Tyler. I think Tyler
And
makes a lot of stuff up too.
Tyler as well, and Johnny B, and like all those guys, all those low tier trash talkers.
Yeah.
It's like you wouldn't think it would be as big of a factor, but it really is.
Wait, it definitely is. Yeah.
Just getting into people's heads.
You might see me sometimes be like, oh yeah, well, I think the most recent thing I've said that I feel like is somewhat trash talking is like, oh, Redrick and Arlen are fighting. Like, thank you for holding my belt for me. Yeah, I'm coming. Like that's
That's good,
all I've
man.
said. That's all I've said so far.
That's good. That's classy.
But then again, like when I say stuff like that, like I'm thinking about I got Ron Johnson in front of me. I can't be looking past Ron Johnson as if I'm already.
Exactly. He's in Thailand. He's
Yeah, he's
training in the jungle.
yeah. He's
Whatever
getting at it. I think
who knows
he really
what.
wants this win. He wants this win really badly. I feel like and I think a win
Yes.
over me will propel him up too, because like my name. To be honest, I think I've
Yeah,
built a
man.
name.
You're absolutely right.
I-
And like back to like what we're talking about, you're good at like talking trash because what you say is true. Like you mentioned this earlier. You're always saying stuff that is actually the truth, and like the fact that it is true makes it so much more credible. It makes it so much more like you get into their head. Like,
I'm definitely in Murder's head. Like I'm not. I know he's like
oh yeah,
tries to be nonchalant about it, but I'm definitely in his head a little bit. He definitely thinks about me just a tiny bit sometimes. He's like, because you see,
yes,
even when I'm not talking to him, he'll say something about me. Like he'll say something like, "Oh, today he actually asked me to spar again." But then I was just like, why do you want to spar me? Like, why do you want to spar me? Like, just so you can screenshot it and post it around again. Like, I'm not gonna give you that chance to make
right.
a laughing stock out of me, even though like it's just a spar. It's really just a spar. Like,
Yeah,
like yeah, okay.
you're definitely in his head. You're for sure in his head. I have no reason to be in his head anymore because I'm retired, but
Tired, yeah.
judging by the way that he talks about me, I still am, and like that's kind of sad. You got to move on.
You gotta move on. Like Darren Till with that mental warfare, man. He needs to move on, bro.
Yeah, man.
But we talked about murder a good amount. We talked about Tyler a little bit. Let's, let's talk about some more recent news about the FFC in general. We got the Fruit Sada going around testing all the
Oh
weight
God.
classes. Oh, how
Oh
do you feel about
no.
that? And
We're gonna get in trouble, dude.
people are gonna get in trouble. People are gonna get in trouble.
All
Someone's
coming
already got in
down.
trouble already. I actually reported that For Real Gone Dark Elixir user confirmed.
Oh, he was on that. He was
Yeah,
on that, my
he was not
friend.
that hard.
He was on that.
It was almost shocking how blatantly like he was on the Dark Elixir. Like he basically
Yeah.
walked around with a bottle of it everywhere he
And
went.
he still lost.
He still
And he still
lost.
lost.
Just goes to show that Dark Elixir can't save you from everything. But
But that stuff is also kind of, it can easily be manipulated. Like they tested Deuce
mm-hmm.
and he was on it and it was it was negative. And so I'm like,
That's a little it is what I don't know.
Deuce can get away with that, man.
I mean,
Deuce can certainly get away.
He's the face of the company almost, so I mean,
exactly.
it's kind of like
if he wanted to, he definitely could get away with that if he wanted to. But I don't think he is. I don't think he's that low.
It's a whole different story when you're the face of the company now, and when Deuce is the face of the company, he's on the cover of. Oh, you're also on the cover as well of the FCC video game.
They forced me on.
They forced you on.
I didn't want to be on it.
You didn't want to be on it. Why didn't you want to be on it?
I've just been off the grid.
You've been off the grid. Well, I mean, I'm glad that you decided to come on the show and whatnot. Bring yourself back to the media.
Yes.
Yeah. The lightweight division because of this Fruit Sada is in immediate threat. Tyler Francis, Sal, the Anaconda,
Maverick. He was on that stuff with Ryu heading up to the fight with me.
Yeah.
They were on that stuff.
Everybody on that Dark Elixir.
A picture leaked of their camp, and he was pumping Ryu with a syringe of whatever that was, by Dark Elixir.
I think that was Dark Elixir. Yeah, I think it was a new strain of Dark Elixir.
Hey, where was Fruit Sada then?
Hey, I mean, I think Fruit Sada is just now picking up now. Finally, like, thank God.
They knew he was taking that stuff against me.
There's photo evidence too. The CCTV,
literally
footage,
photo
everything.
evidence. They knew Deuce was taking it against me. They knew Ryu was taking it against me. They didn't care, and I knocked them both out. So what are you gonna do?
It's a little bit strange that this is happening, but it is what it is.
Fruit Sada, retired, man.
Yeah.
There's like so many reasons why I retired, but that was one of the main ones.
I think it would be devastating if I were to go out there and fight in the middleweight division, and I end up losing to somebody that was on the Elixir. Like, it just seems like everything I worked for and whatnot, it would just be taken away from me because of
I don't think that would happen to you.
I hope not.
They have no reason to like let someone do Dark Elixir against you. There's no reason. Hopefully not. You're a very good company guy.
I mean,
no offense.
I mean, no offense taken. I mean, I don't think there's anything to be taken offensive, but I think I've done pretty well for the company. I think I'm a decent draw. I wouldn't call myself a good draw yet. I don't think anyone would come to a main event and watch, Yuba and Kim yet. But I think a good like main card starter and whatnot. I think I stand there pretty well. Hopefully in the future, we grow. I'm trying to get some of my other Asian brothers and sisters time on the podcast, time on the news to come on here, to start a path,
Sir.
pioneer it. I've been calling uh Dana Black for FFC Korea if I ever win the title or to compete for the title.
That would be
Um,
cool.
We'll go to Korea, have a bunch of Asian fighters. All the Asian fighters gets a chance to shine there. I think it'll be revolutionary.
That would be really cool.
Speaking of revolutionary and speaking of Pyra, the women's division that was
That's also really cool. I think I don't think any other Fed has done that. I like that a lot. I think that's
I think it's very
displaying
interesting.
that type of that whole deal. I think that's cool. I think that's
I think it's
good
very
move by the
inclusive.
FFC.
Very inclusive.
Yeah.
There's a lot of inclusivity there. You advertise like a female fighter. Female fighters are already controversial in just every federation. Like they always get
Yeah,
like
man. A lot of
unnecessary
people who are like don't really know how to talk to girls.
hate. Yeah. Admittedly, a lot of them do not know how to talk to women. Sucks, but it's sad because sometimes they represent like the active community. Like sometimes they're the more
Yeah.
active ones. So when you get a girl on or a woman on, and they want to fight, and you get someone that just is blatantly, for lack of a better term, sexist. It's just what do you do?
Paying a little too much attention to them blocks, man.
Yeah, but women division super exciting. I think it'd be very exciting to platform a woman champion. I think that's very exciting. I look forward to seeing that happening, and I also look forward. I know she's injured right now. Pyra Zena, I heard she's recovering at the moment, but hers to make her debut. She was supposed to do it with Kathy McGregor, sadly Kathy McGregor was thinking about retiring as well, which is going down the murder route where you lose and you retire. Like you don't want to do that. I know the post-fight L depression is real, but I don't think anyone should retire after that.
I don't know how that feels.
You don't know. I felt it
No
before earlier in my career.
Neither of us know how that feels.
Not right now, definitely not right now. But earlier in my career, like super early, like in a different federation, I fought for like I think Brawl it was, and I think they kind of just picked me out of the crowd. I wasn't scheduled to fight. I was just chilling there trying to watch the fight and trying
I
to see
hate how
good comps.
Feds do that. Like big feds do that a lot. They just pull people out of the crowd.
They're like, look at that guy. They're like, who's that guy? Like, I was in the
Yeah,
VC when they said it. Like, I was just chilling there eating like a bowl of noodles trying to watch these fights, and they're like,
Yeah.
so who is Luxury Resort? And they're like, you get him in. We're like, what's your fire
That's
name?
a
I'm like,
really cool username, by the way. Might I add? That's a really cool username.
I appreciate it. I made it when I was like 13. Like, it was really old, but
That's very creative for a 13-year-old. Very good.
Appreciate it. But yeah, they put me out. They took me out there. I was playing the game for like maybe like 2 weeks or so, and they were like, "Here you go, fight against Rizgar." And then Rizgar ended up KOing me in the second round. It was just like, whoops, I guess.
Damn.
This is kind of crazy.
Look how far we came.
But here I am now in the FFC, thriving, still a young fighter.
About to get a big check.
Big check
on the way.
I got a performance of the night. My last outing against Shasta, so that was pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Big check.
Big check. And now
I
Ron
think
Johnson.
I got a bonus. I think I got some kind of bonus. Let me. I can go back and see that right now. I got for me and Ryu. I got something, didn't I? I had to get like perform. I probably didn't get performance. Matter of fact.
Shit, it is what it is.
Shit, I should get career of the whole.
Oh, you're in the Hall of Fame
bullshit.
though. You're in Hall of Fame, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Do recall, not too long ago, another retiree, that goes by the name Hybrid Theory, or Mike Scythe. He has been calling to be put in the Hall of Fame, and he even said that he had confirmed that he would be in the Hall of Fame.
He's senile. He's senile.
Is he? Would you think he'll be in the Hall of Fame?
He's like 46, bro. He's senile.
He wants to be in the Hall of Fame. I'm not sure if has he ever won gold here? Has he ever won FFC
No,
gold?
no. He almost
So
did, but he lost.
I'm not sure how he's gonna. I'm not sure what kind of argument he's gonna be able to make to come
He's
into
probably
the
trolling,
trolling.
knowing him. He's a big troll,
He's a big troll. Yeah, I agree. He's kind of like in the
for
same boat
sure.
as Murder at the moment, but just a
Yeah,
little bit
except
more
not as
weird.
annoying, not as pathetic.
Yeah, that's pathetic. But definitely when it comes to being like weird, he definitely beats
Yeah,
Murder in that like just
for sure.
he really hit me with some racism. You know, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that on YouTube, but I don't think so. Racism, I can't. Um, he really hit me with some of that. Like, and then he DM'd me and apologized about it, and then he would go on a few days later to give more people some racism. It was just like, what is this? Like, what are we doing? Like,
What a
this is not
bloke.
no character. This is not a character. I don't think.
He trained me. I'm not gonna lie, he trained me.
He trained you like a lot, or like what?
Early in my career, he trained me a pretty good amount. He was the first dude I fought that like that was like I wouldn't even call him a sweat. First dude I fought who was like really good, and I asked him to train me, and he trained me, and I became the champion. And then, I wasn't his student anymore, and it was much more like mutual, like respect between me and him.
He definitely tries training everyone. I mean, I think about everyone he's about said the same thing for every fighter. He's like, "Oh, I've trained you," and he takes credit for your wins.
Exactly.
And then like I've had one training session with him, just one, where he basically laid on top of me. This photo out there. He laid on top of me for like 20 minutes, went AFK, and then we sparred like maybe once. He brought in some guy named Garcia, and we sparred. I sparred him, and then that was the end of the training session. I was just like, okay, well, I felt like I've learned nothing. So, but then he ended up taking credit for like my next few wins afterwards. But I gave him a shout out regardless in my last fight. But yeah, I just see him do that with every fighter. Like even with Pyrazena, like he's done that, and all that. But like he's still. Why did he leave the FFC? Actually, did you see that moment where he left for a while and then like kind of asked to come back?
He's probably embarrassed.
Yeah.
He's getting senile. He's like having a midlife crisis or something.
Yeah, probably.
God bless him. God bless the old geezer.
Yeah, but I think his trainer maybe I'm not sure what the relationship is, but GGT, or Lexi Theory or whatever their name is, they're fighting now, I guess. That's a little shocking. I didn't expect that. I don't know where they came from, but another woman in the woman division for Pyro to
maybe carrying
kill.
carrying on his legacy.
Yeah,
Mike's legacy.
Maybe. I don't know how that's gonna go, but
trying to win gold for the family.
I'd say feed her the Pyro. If not obvious enough, Pyro is my favorite female fighter at the moment. No, actually, I lied. It's Eno. Eno's my favorite, but
I saw Eno fight, I think.
Oh man, Eno.
She got knocked out.
Oh, nah, she didn't get knocked out. Nah, that was visual glitch, actually. I think.
Yes. I think you're actually right.
Visual glitch, but yeah, no.
Wait, so what about Eno?
What about Eno?
Cool.
Oh yeah. She's cool. Beautiful. I mean, she's a good fighter. She actually helped me with the grappling before my fight against Shasta. So we did a little grappling, just a little bit. We had a whole grappling match, and she helped me out.
Talking like that about her.
What? We talking about?
You started to. You sound a little. Should we get y'all hooked up?
I would love if she were to come to the FSC, come to the podcast. But
really?
my bad. I think my bad. Sorry, I got a little carried away there. I think she's a great fighter. I think she's a great fighter. So, shout out to her for the wrestling advice and whatnot. But
yes.
Yeah, get her here. Sweet Star's already here. I heard they're friends, so maybe we can making that happen. I feel like it could happen. But yeah, more fighters, more female fighters on the way.
That's cool.
Someone banned Tyler before that.
Yeah, dude. Like,
Someone banned
better
him.
watch out. Guy's a
Um,
menace.
give him like a whole separate role where it's like nobody talked to this guy. Like I don't know, like
He was saying some bad stuff. He was
some terrible
just kind
stuff.
of like, I don't think he knows his limits. Like, we had a game night where it was Avery, and I'm sure you can imagine how that went.
Yeah, I think Deuce Wade touched upon that a little bit, where he said that he basically
Yeah,
scared
that-
off
that
Avery.
It made just about everybody uncomfortable.
Really?
Uh,
Well, can you recite what he said? Like paraphrase it, like
Oh no, I can't.
in a friendly, family friendly manner.
Jesus, dude. I don't want to.
You
Let's
know,
move on.
okay, we'll move on from that. Okay, all right, that's fine.
Let's move on.
Moving moving on. We talked about the female fighters. We talked about we briefly touched about your legacy with the rivalry with Deuce Wade, middleweight championship coming along, murder, and Tyler Francis coming along. Basically, we
Yeah.
briefly talked about me a little bit. I'm trying to think of some other things.
Talked a lot about like mental warfare.
Mental warfare, how fighters should be approaching these fights, and what differentiates
Yeah.
other fighters from one another.
I want to clarify some things about Deuce and me.
Oh yeah, go ahead and clarify.
So I'm gonna start off with something mean. It's
Okay.
if he thinks, if he says I'm so boring, then why is he always talking about me?
Mr. Rob Thompson, I think you had left the room.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh no, my Wi-Fi's starting to get bad again. Wait. What was the last thing I said?
Just going back, it's fine. Just you said something along the lines of what did you say? You said something like Deuce Wade, boring, something about him saying that you're a boring fighter.
Yeah. So you know how he says that all the time? And, like,
Mhm.
says I don't get any pay-per-views.
Yeah.
But like, if I'm so boring, then why is he always talking about me?
I don't
You know?
know. I don't know.
Like,
I
I don't know
have to ask
either.
him that. I have to ask him that next time he comes to the podcast.
You might have to.
I mean, I'm learning so much
I don't know.
more because
He's probably gonna change the topic, but that's not the main point that I want to make. I want to like just clarify between me and him that I don't know how he feels. I don't know if he's just putting on a facade to make himself seem like tougher, but I have a lot of respect for him, genuinely.
right.
And I don't think he's on anything anymore. And I respect the way he conducts himself, and I respect like how much effort he has, and he's a great champion. But I wish he could like be a little bit more like relaxed. Like he didn't always have to talk shit about me, but whatever.
I mean, it's fight game is what happens. People do that. I mean, we talked about the shit talking before. That's just how it be. Deuce Wade
Mhm.
obviously doing good for himself, so that's good. But is that all you wanted to clarify about your situation with Deuce Wade?
It's not a situation.
Oh, not the
It's
situation,
just
but like your
yeah. It's just
yeah.
I want to call it a friendship, but I don't know if you call it a friendship. I think it's a rivalry in the end. Like at the end of the day, it's a rivalry. Not a personal rivalry, but competitive rivalry.
Right. No, I feel that.
So that's what I want to clarify. I have a lot of respect for Deuce, and I don't think a lot of people realize that. I think they just think that me and him hate each other.
Ooh, well, that's something. Hey, yo, just give me one moment, please. So, I'm gonna have to wrap it up in a minute here, in like 5 minutes or so. You cool with that?
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to.
Last brief thing I want to talk about. Upcoming fighters. Any top prospects from a championship champion like you? Any top prospects that you've seen coming in?
You're the top prospect.
Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I can't really think like I know that everyone does just think he sucked. I don't
Think he
think care
sucked?
for him, but
Dan Beebe.
Dan Beebe, yeah, he's all right. I
A
mean,
little bit.
I don't think he beats Deuce.
Okay. I mean, all right.
He's
Uh,
he's pretty good, but I don't think he beats Deuce. Like,
okay.
he's not active. Like, he doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Kevin McGregor. Kevin
Kevin McGregor.
McGregor. Oh, who else is there? I've been keeping up with a lot of the new ones. Pyra Zena is obviously a new signing.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet Star has signed. What do you think? What do you think about those fighters?
They're all good, and they're all all up and coming, of course. But I mean, no one's doing it like you.
Ah, for sure,
No one's
man.
doing
That's I'm flattered.
I'm just being honest. It's just what I'm observing. Like, no one has put as much like effort as you. No one's as like. I mean, none of the new guys are like as good as you are either. So it's kind of a mix of those two things. Like, they don't. I don't know. I think you're by far the top like prospect. I don't even know if I'd call you a prospect anymore. I think you're solidified.
I appreciate that.
You're a contender right now. You're about to become a championship contender if you beat Ron Johnson.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I saw you right now too. I still in my mind still a prospect, but I appreciate that it comes up. It needs a lot coming from a champion like you, a former champion like you. Before this podcast
Not
ends.
Not former.
Oh, okay. Yeah, still champ.
I'll forever be the champ.
Okay,
No,
sure. But before we wrap this up, any final words before I end the recording? And yeah, just say what you want to say to the Kim show.
Keep doing what you're doing, man. Take it easy.
All right, sounds good, man. Y'all heard it first. Heard it here first. Rob Thompson back in the media. It was great having you on, man. Thank you for your time. Yeah.
Glad to be here.
We out.